The tea is exceptionally good today. Who made this? Very delicious. Hold on.
Hey, my cosmic cousins, it's your girl Nova Charm, and welcome to another episode of Astrology Tea with Nova Charm. And on today's episode, we have a cosmic cousin request. Shout out to Geek Girl. And my bad for taking so long, but you already know I got you, girl. With that being said, we are digging into the Synastry chart of the beautiful and talented, let me tell you, this is my girl, okay? Normani and her fiance DK Metcalf. Yes. Now y'all already know how I get down. We're going to go through each of their charts, and then we're going to break down the synastry of why these two just work. And that's on period. Like, they have some... Alright, I ain't going to get too excited. Let me calm down, because we got to break it down, alright? But before I do, you already know what to do. Go on and hit that like, go on and subscribe to your girl if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of this cosmic tea that I be wanting to sip with y'all, because I be having some good tea over here. Better know it. Now let's dive right into it. Starting with Normani's chart. Now let me just start off by saying, when my girl Geek Girl came and requested this, she came with rising sign in hand. So all I had to do was just kind of check a couple other sources, and we're going to just go ahead and roll with it and confirm that Normani is a Cancer rising. Now, with that being said, she's also a Gemini sun, a Scorpio moon with a Taurus Mercury, and a Venus in Gemini, which was at retrograde at the time of her birth. Now, in addition, she's a Taurus Mars, a Capricorn Jupiter, which was also in retrograde at the time. Her Saturn is in Aries, which means our girl got a Saturn return coming up. Now, in addition, Uranus is in Aquarius in her chart in retrograde, and Neptune is in Capricorn in her chart in retrograde. Now, her Pluto sits in Sagittarius, which was also in retrograde, and her North Node is in Libra, which also set in retrograde at the time of her birth. Now, with all that retrograde energy in those outer bound planets, that automatically made me feel like this girl is incredibly deeper than what the hell we even know. I mean, the Scorpio moon is going to give that anyway, and being ruled by the moon is definitely going to give that energy, but by all those outer bound planets being in retrograde like that, that is definitely going to add a depth and layer to her that is completely unseen by the public eye. And of course, we're going to get to breaking all of this down in a minute. Let's go ahead and run through DK's placements, and then we can get to comparing notes and talking about some things, okay? Now, when it comes to DK, he is a Sagittarius sun, and he's a Cancer moon. Now, his Mercury sits in Sagittarius, which he was born during a Mercury retrograde. His Venus sits in Aquarius. He has a Capricorn Mars, which Capricorn is actually exalted in Mars. His Jupiter sits in Aquarius. He has his Saturn return coming up as well, because he has his Saturn in Aries, and his Saturn actually was in retrograde at the time of his birth. Now, his Uranus sits in Aquarius as well as Normani's, as well as his Neptune sits in Capricorn as well as Normani's. His Pluto is also in Sagittarius as well. Now, he does have a North Node in Virgo, which his North Node is in retrograde as well. Now, I found that interesting, that both of their North Nodes was in retrograde. Now, I could definitely see when it comes to the outer bound planets, because, you know, everybody, if you're in the same generation, you're going to have the same sign as far as your outer bound planets is concerned. I mean, of course, it's going to sit a little different based on whatever house it sits in. Now, with that being said, all of the retrograde energy that is in Normani's chart is completely different than the retrograde energy that is in DK's chart, except for that North Node. But we're going to stick a pin in that and get back to that in a minute, okay? You know how I like to do. I like to leave y'all in suspense. Anyhow, to truly understand Normani is to understand the complexity of a woman who has both a wild side as well as a deep sensitive soul. When I say our girl protects her peace at all costs, she do not play when it comes to her energy. And this has a lot to do with being ruled by the moon. Her being a Cancer rising means that the moon rules her chart. Her energy is nurturing, it's caring, fiercely protective, and highly intuitive, okay? I don't know. Our girl just gives that fun-loving girl next door vibe. But like most Cancer risings, that crab is represented by Cancer. It's nice and soft on the inside, but it got that hard protective shell. And one thing Cancer energy don't play about is their family. So she definitely feels deeply connected to her family and her roots. And because her intuition is so strong, when she walks into a room, she doesn't just enter into a room. She actually feels the energy of a room once she enters into it. Now, when it comes to her Gemini sun, the energy that she likes to shine out to the world is that of that fun, flirty, intellectual baddie. The Geminis are the chameleons of the zodiacs. Because they're represented by the twins and they have that duality, being a mutable sign that is of the mind, Geminis really just give chameleon energy. Like they're able to blend in any room. And she's definitely a strong communicator. She's going to say what's on her mind. Most Gemini suns like to shine out through their creative ideas, and she's no different. Now, child, where the tea starts to get a little real at is that Scorpio moon, child. And beneath all that sweet Gemini sun and that Cancer rising that is so caring and nurturing, you got that Scorpio moon energy. And that is not for the faint of heart. Whenever I see that in somebody's chart, child, please, I already know loyalty is demanded here. They are not going to settle for anything less. Now, this energy is the energy of an emotional alchemist. Because Scorpio is that death and rebirth energy, that transformation energy, it has the ability to break down any energy and rebuild it in the way that it sees fit. This is a very intense placement, but it's a very powerful placement as well. And there better not be no secrets either, because she do not play about that. Now, when it comes to her private life, though, her private life is that of private. And this is why it explains why she kept her relationship with DK so low-key for so long. She needs to know that she can trust you first before she lets the world see you. Until then, you're her little secret. And that's the way she gonna keep it. Yes, I borrowed that from Escape. I love that album. That's on that Traces of the Lipstick, Escape, if you wanted to know. Yeah, Now, adding to the complexity, which is our Normani, her Mercury is in Taurus, which Taurus and Mercury doesn't really like to move fast. But her sun is a Gemini sun, which is Mercury ruled. So her sun definitely likes to go fast. But when it comes to her mind itself, it's very grounded and deliberate. She's not going to be as impulsive with her words as a typical Gemini sun would be. She's more of a strategist. She has a value more for stability and a tangible result. Taurus is earth energy. It wants that stability. It wants that foundation. Now, because it deals with the money, this definitely makes her a great businesswoman. But when it comes to her relationship, she may be a little bit more stubborn. Like once she's made up her mind, that's just it. That's just it. She ain't going to move. Now, let's talk about that Venus in Gemini. Now, that energy was in retrograde at the time of her birth. Now, retrograde Venus, when you have that in your chart, it's more like you're a student of love, and you reevaluate your values pretty often with this type of placement. She's definitely not going to follow the traditional love story script. She spent a lot of time thinking about what she would actually want in a relationship before DK even came around. With that Gemini energy being of the mind, that Mercury energy. So when it comes to the subject of love, this is something that she actually really took the time to think about, to study, and learn how to love herself before she allowed anybody to come in. When it comes to her relationships, it does mean that she has a lot of thought. There's a lot of thought process that goes into it before she makes any decisions jumping into any relationship. And it probably has a lot to do with that Scorpio moon. She doesn't want to be hurt easily. Now keep in mind, we talk about Venus. So when it comes to the women, Venus shows us how we like to receive love. Whereas for males, it deals more about what they're attracted to. Our Mars tells a little bit more about our type. And when it comes to Normani's Mars, hers is in Taurus and it's direct. And to me, I look at it, I'm like, our girl love a good money ass nigga. And Mars and Taurus for females, like, you like a man that's going to spend his money. You like a man that's going to get to his bag. You like somebody who is foundational. He got to be secure and grounded like a rock. But yeah, he definitely got to be about the dough. And he got to be flashy a little bit. He got to be a little materialistic. You like him to look good, smell good. Girl like to eat good. I mean, she needs all of that going on when it comes to her man. That's what Taurus and Mars energy gives. And looking at DK's chart, yep, right up her alley. Now, when it comes to her Jupiter sits in Capricorn in retrograde. This means there is expansion when it comes to her discipline. Now, Capricorn is birth from Saturn. That's Saturn's baby right there. So wherever Capricorn is, as well as Aquarius too, we can't sleep on Aquarius, we have Saturn energy there, right? Now, I'm bringing this out in her Jupiter for a reason, but her position in this in particular is very much expansion through discipline. Now, this energy here typically gives late bloomers. It's normally a grind. In order to expand here, you have to work for every little thing. That's why it's so important to have good discipline with a placement like this and making sure that you are responsible in doing things the traditional way. This energy really does give slow grind. And we have seen our girl have that grind. She's really taking her time with her career and is building momentum as it goes. From the moment she hit our TV screen in 2012 at the age of 16, when she stood on that X Factor stage, I definitely knew she was one of them. I mean, a whole lot of people apparently knew that she was one of them. And then when Fifth Harmony was formed, I mean, she was definitely my fave. I don't know about nobody else, but she was my fave, okay? And even within the group, she honestly made sure that she was making a name for herself separately. Especially when I seen her do the Dancing with the Stars, I was like, okay, my girl know what it is. And that Cancer rising energy definitely is leading her career, which happens to be the sister sign of that Capricorn energy, okay? So she is balancing that axis very well, in my opinion. Especially because this is a grind that she's been on for a very long time. I mean, all her life, my girl been doing dance, gymnastics, beauty pageants, acting, singing. I mean, that's very Gemini, multi-talented, you hear me? But she's had to work for everything. But our girl is definitely slow building her legacy, and I ain't mad about it. Now, Jupiter will also tell you when it comes to your husband. Now, this gives her husband this foundational type of energy. She need to see that he gonna work for it too. She like her a hard-working man, but he gotta be successful. And he gotta carry himself with a sort of confidence. Does that sound like anybody y'all know? Now, her North Node in Libra, being in retrograde, makes it her soul's mission to find balance in partnerships. But that comes from serious self-examination. Whenever we talk about retrograde energy, we're talking about dealing with inward energy. And when it comes to that Venus Libra energy, we're talking about mirror energy. And whether we realize it or not, our relationships mirror our energy. We are literally who we are attracted to. So the person that she does this journey with, or she has this partnership with, is going to be someone who's going to be able to show her things about herself that she didn't really realize. Then in walks DK. Well, it wasn't really a walk-in, I guess. It was more so a meetup because they met at Sierra and Russell's party, if y'all remember correctly. Now, this party took place in February of 2022, and it was during Aquarius season. And I'm just going to leave that right there. And we're going to hop on over to DK's. You already know I said that for a reason. We'll get back to that in a minute. Let's hop into DK's chart and talk about how he brings out Normani's wild side. Now, DK gets straight beast mode energy with a little unexpected sensitivity. Aww. Now, I was not able to find or confirm his rising sign, but y'all already know I'm about to work for what I got. It's nothing. Just tell me the basis of the energy and I got it. Now, DK being the Sagittarius sun, already I'm sitting here like, okay, their sun signs are sister signs. Sagittarius, though, is Jupiter ruled. So it's like a expanded version of that Gemini energy. It's also the traveler, the athlete, and the philosopher. Now, Sagittarius suns are driven by freedom. They also love expansion, and they're going to willing to take a soul's journey to find whatever truth they need to find. That's where that philosopher energy comes from. Now, Sagittarius suns being the sister sign of Gemini, they also do communication as well, but they're a little overly aggressive with it. Like, they're extra blunt. If you know a Sagittarius sun, you know what I mean, okay? Sagittarius energy is fire, and fire energy is all about action. And when it comes to Sagittarius, that action comes in the form of expansion. Now, that Sagittarius sun is very flashy, but one thing he's not flashy with is when it comes to his private life. Now, DK is a Cancer moon, and Cancer is home here. So one thing this man is going to protect is not only his emotions, but his family. And he's definitely going to keep his private life out of the public eye unless he wants you to see it. I mean, even thinking about their engagement, child, he was fresh off of a major move, and we're talking about $150 million contract move, and he still chose the most Cancer way possible to propose to Normani in Houston with his family. Now, this tells us everything that we need to know about their foundation of their relationship. Family is definitely a big theme for them, and legacy. His Cancer moon was able to feel this off of her energy immediately because she's a Cancer rising. And I do believe that's what drew him in. Emotionally, their waters just harmonize together with her Scorpio moon and his Cancer moon. They just flow so naturally together. And I love that for them. And it's not just superficial. It's deep, honey. At DK's core, he's really a nurturer as well. He values emotional security, and that's how you know that it's real, because that proposal was done in front of his family. And he really needed that communal blessing in order for it to feel real. Now, when it comes to DK's Mercury, it's in Sagittarius, and it was in retrograde at the time of birth. Now, this is major. Now, Mercury in Sagittarius is already blunt as hell. But in retrograde, it means he thinks deeply about his beliefs before he speaks. No, our boy is not just a football player. He's a thinker. This man literally revisits his ideas and asks why instead of just what. Now, with that Sagittarius energy, it's still going to be said. However, he is going to put a little bit of thought into it before he just blurts it out. Now, one thing that we know when it comes to a Venus in Gemini, when it comes to our girl Normani, they need to be intellectually stimulated, baby. And with DK's Mercury being in Sagittarius, he has an expanded philosophical type of way of thinking. I just made that word up, philosophical, but we're going to roll with it today. And being that this energy is also in retrograde, that definitely makes him a deep thinker on top of that. And I'm sure this highly impressed our girl. Now, hopping over to DK's Venus, his Venus is in Aquarius. Now, Aquarius energy is that individual. It's unique, it's unconventional, it gives networking and friends. This lets me know that he's looking for a woman that is an individual. He doesn't want a trophy wife that's going to follow him around game to game. He definitely enjoys an independent woman. He needs a lover and a friend. Now, of course, whenever I look at this placement in somebody's chart, I'm always thinking of a friendship turned to lovers, or possibly being introduced by friends. So I feel like Russ and Sierra really played their hand in destiny when they got those two together at their house. They want everybody to be just as in love as they are. And I ain't mad about it. When you find something good, you be wanting to share it with everybody. You be wanting everybody else to feel the way you feel. The problem is, now y'all know I'm going to keep it real. Venus in Aquarius don't really provide a lot of safety and security. They just don't. It's more of a free love, more of an openness. Now, Aquarius is Saturn energy, but it's also Uranus energy. It's very sporadic. Yes, our girl Aquarius comes from a 2-planet household. But my point is, by Aquarius being a part of Saturn and being on the opposite side of the planet as Capricorn, Capricorn deals with more of the structure of it all. It's steady, it's foundational, it's structured, and quite frankly, it's binding. Aquarius represents the exact opposite of that. It represents the freedom of it all. It's unconventional. It's not going to do things the way that it would do things yesterday. And also very similar to Sagittarius energy, is big on the freedom. This is exactly why it was so important for him to be interested in Normani first. This energy enjoys the freedom of choice. They like to choose you, and they definitely have to make the move when they feel comfortable and confident. So the fact that he asked Normani to marry him, even to their meeting in Aquarius season, it just gives it was all by design. It really just gives meant to be. Now, when we step over to DK's Mars, this is where we find his Capricorn energy. This is where his structure is at. He's building his legacy here. And Capricorn is also exalted in Mars. So this explains why he's just naturally talented at what he does. Whether you like his attitude or not, he is absolutely the man on that field. I actually call this placement the grown-ass man placement. This energy is so ambitious, structured, and focused on building a legacy. He's not here for the 15 minutes of fame. He's here to build an empire, and his talent speaks for itself. Now, we already know that Mars is an aggressive, it's an athletic, and highly sexual planet. Now, with that being said, that energy being exalted, child, all I can say is, knowing the things that I know about a Capricorn Mars in that bedroom, and the way Normani can bust a split on stage, baby, that bedroom action, I know it's fire. I know it is. Especially with Normani being a Scorpio moon, she gonna give all that emotion. Okay, let me get out the bedroom. But let me tell you, it's fire in there. It's hot in there, okay? I feel like there's a lot of R&B playing in the background. Now, we can also find that Capricorn energy in Normani's chart sitting in her Jupiter, which I told y'all that represents, the husband. Now, this energy can be a bit temperamental. Just had a recent incident with DK and, a Detroit Lion fan. I honestly believe that DK walked in the middle of a setup, especially because it had been rumored that, there had been an incident between him and this fan before, and that he had actually filed some type of report about this fan. I don't know, y'all. I don't really do sports, but the word on the street is that's how it went down, okay? And the fact that the fan is now getting like season tickets and he's getting all of this love and acknowledgement. I mean, this man is doing all kinds of interviews and all kinds of media attention. So yeah, it feel a little set up. But just because there's a trap open and waiting for you does not mean you have to walk in that motherfucker. Now, I would be lying if I didn't say that Mars in Capricorn exalted, dealing with sex and all of that. And that Venus in Aquarius didn't make me a little nervous for our girl Normani, especially with seeing her chart and seeing how protective she is over her heart. And with rumors floating that it's possible that DK could have been in some DMs, definitely has me side-eyeing him a little bit. And these placements don't make it any better. I'm going to tell you the truth. It don't make it any better. But one thing is for sure, with this energy having Saturn on it, if he is doing anything, oh, he gonna feel it, baby. He is going to feel it. The universe will definitely make that boy pay for it. Especially because both of them are approaching their Saturn return. And that Saturn energy deals with your structure, your authority, that discipline, and that self-mastery. And when we're talking about Aries energy, we're talking about self. We're talking about self-control, most importantly, self-discipline. Not to mention that his Jupiter is in Aquarius. So it's directly aligned with his Venus, which means he finds his expansion and luck through networking, but he also can find it through his relationship. We're talking about unconventional success when it comes to that placement right there. But Jupiter most importantly deals with the expansion of it all. The more he stands on his uniqueness, and Aquarius is that rebel. So that rebel spirit of his definitely pays off for his expansion, but it just needs to be done in an unconventional type of way. Now, his North Node is in Virgo, and it was in retrograde at the time of his birth. This is where he needs to be developing his discernment. That Virgo energy deals with your rhythm of life, your everyday routines, your habits. It also deals with your work and how you service others. Virgo is Mercury's baby. Now, with that being said, that's what his soul mission really wants him to do, is develop a healthy routine. Also, a healthy workflow. With his Mars being the way that it is, he could definitely have a tendency to overdo it. Now, let's dive into their synastry, because we need to talk about that chemistry, that wild side level of chemistry that Sierra and Russell was talking about. They was pretty confident in this match. I can tell y'all right now, though, this is not surface level attraction. This is actually a deeply balanced, energetic exchange. And they really do have a deep bond and a deep connection outside of what we see. So let's break it down and let's talk about the chemistry. Let's start with that sun. Now, y'all know I don't really put a lot of emphasis on the sun typically. I don't. It does deal with our core personality and how we like to shine out to the world. We like to be viewed by others. However, I don't put a lot of smoke on it when it comes to the subject of love. But even with that being said, because of the fact that their sun signs are those sister signs, their auras literally harmonize with one another. And it makes them just look like a good couple together. Normani being a Gemini sun and DK being a Sagittarius sun, and those being sister signs, it creates that magnetic push and pull type of dynamic that you can't ignore. These signs is all about the knowledge of it all. With Gemini having that reporter energy where it's collecting all of the details, getting all the facts and the local information. You have the philosopher and the Sagittarius energy that's looking at the bigger picture and the global truth. DK's energy gives Normani that safe space to actually just expand her horizons and to take more chances. Now, where that soul bond comes in is that Cancer rising and that Cancer moon. Now, I actually love this in their chart. Normani being a Cancer rising and DK being a Cancer moon in their synastry, it just makes this instant home type of feeling. He feels completely seen and completely safe in Normani's presence. And she just intuitively just knows exactly what to do for his soul to feel nurtured. Him having such an aggressive profession and always having to be in beast mode as far as his career is concerned, and having the Cancer moon that he is, he needs that safe space, and she provides that for him. Now, how that Cancer moon lines up with her Scorpio moon, that water alchemy is something serious. That water energy just provides this harmonious trine to where they just get each other. And this is on a deep emotional level. Now, Normani's Scorpio moon needs that depth. It needs that loyalty. And DK's Cancer moon is more happy to provide that, okay? They share that private world that is outside of all of us. It is completely off limits to the public. So I know a lot of people have been looking to see if Normani is still wearing her ring because of all of the cheating rumors and things like that. Baby, we will never know. We will never know if they are on, off, especially if they haven't made a decision within themselves yet. We're not going to hear nothing about it from neither one of them. At least until after they've made a permanent decision and they're ready for us to know. I mean, they was dating for a whole year before the public even really knew what was going on. Emotionally, these two move in complete silence. One thing about it is those waters is deep and dark, and this definitely gives soulmate energy. Not to mention by her being a Cancer rising, that puts that Capricorn energy in his Mars in her 7th house, which is that 7th house of partnerships. That Mars energy just makes her feel like this is all the man that I could ever need. I told y'all, I was listening to the R&B before. Listen, all right. He just really gives her that energy of my lover, my best friend, my husband, my everything. That person that she could build that legacy with and expand with. And with their moon signs being completely water, this is an emotional attachment that is private, okay? Then on top of it, they have this intellectual air trine going on when it comes to that Venus energy, with her Venus being in Gemini and his Venus being in Aquarius. Normani's Venus needs variety. It loves mental stimulation. It's very curious and it loves that excitement. Whereas DK's Venus is all about the uniqueness and the freedom of it all and needs that unconventional type of relationship. They are not going to be the couple that's glued to each other's hip. Not in a suffocating way anyway. And this is another reason why DK be feeling like Normani is the perfect woman for him, because I love to say air don't care over here. I love to say air don't care. Air energy is so relaxed and it goes with the flow. It's not assertive like fire. It's not as emotional as water. And it's not as grounded as earth. It is extremely free-flowing and it thrives on giving each other space. And because they are building this foundation where they are also each other's best friend, it makes for a relationship that is built to last. It creates a lot more understanding when it comes to each other. Now, no relationship is perfect. And definitely with this much retrograde energy in both of their charts, they have some work to do. So even the cosmos knew that this was not going to be just a smooth sailing relationship. But that's why their bond is so deep, so they can weather some of these storms. Now, when it comes to their Mercury, her Mercury being in Taurus and his Mercury being in Sagittarius and retrograde, Normani's all about the facts. And she likes to take things slow. And when she gets fixed on an idea, she can also be a bit stubborn. Then we got DK over here who has this Sagittarius Mercury that's incredibly blunt and can sometimes overtalk. This placement here is also big on overpromising. They talk a big game, but not always able to back it up. Now, at times, Normani can find that bluntness of his to be a little bit too damn much. DK can be looking at Normani like, girl, I need you to be a little bit more open-minded and look at the bigger picture. And she like, no, I said what I said. I feel how I feel. It is what it is. So they got to learn that middle ground language, and it just takes a little bit more balancing than usual. Now, when it comes to that Venus retrograde that is in Normani's chart, this can make her overthink when it comes to relationships. This will cause her moments where she'll retreat into her shell in order to reevaluate her feelings. Now, even though DK's energy is perfectly fine with giving her space with that Aquarius energy there, with both of them being on that type of time, they got to be careful not to drift apart and make sure that they keep that line of communication open. Now, let's get into those double Saturns in Aries, because that right there is the warrior placement, okay? Now, they're both completely competitive and driven. This energy could cause an ego clash at times. Both may want to be the leader or the boss. And when it comes to relationships, especially in a marriage, you have to both learn how to take the driver's seat. Basically, if I know a quicker way, a shorter way to get us there, then hand me the keys and let me be the one to drive. Saturn says in 2026, there's some growing up to do. Those Saturn rings be all about those commitments. Even though word on the street, Saturn's losing its rings. But you know, that's another subject for another day. Right now, Saturn is heavy about them commitments. And because both of them would be going through their Saturn return this year, Saturn isn't asking. It's more or less telling them they're going to have to grow up. DK, I'm actually looking at you when I say that. Now, having the same Saturn means they actually share the same type of generational lesson. Saturn brings in a type of maturity, type of energy. So we are definitely going to be seeing a level up when it comes to these two within the next 3 years. Now, let's go on and be a little nosy and see what's going on in 2026 for these two, because I feel like they are going to be coming into the year of a cosmic reset. Now, because of the fact that Saturn and Neptune have been rolling together in these streets, and on February 20th of 2026, Saturn and Neptune will actually meet together at 0 degrees in Aries. This is given a once-in-a-lifetime event. And this is for all of us, but especially for individuals who have their Saturn in Aries. The 0 degrees is like the great seed. It almost feels like a Jack and a beanstalk. And this is for all of us, by the way. But you know them beanstalk seeds that Jack's mom was pissed as hell that he had gave her cow away for? And she tossed him out the window and ended up making a big ass beanstalk. And he had to climb up that beanstalk to get that golden egg until he just said fuck it and stole the golden goose. But it changed his generations for years and years to come. Yeah, that's what that energy gives, okay? This is actually a starting block for us all, which I just finished, that Neptune in Aries video. Make sure that y'all go ahead and check that out. It's here on the channel. Yeah. But nevertheless, for them, this is peak Saturn return. And this legacy that they've been working at building, this is definitely the peak time for that bond and that generational seed to be planted, okay? Not only that, people start to seriously put some respect on our girl Normani's name. Now, Normani is that pop princess, and no doubt we see her talent. But we all know Normani has not been getting her just dues that she deserves. Well, our girl's going into icon status, and we're going to start seeing her wildest dreams with that Neptune energy influence turned into concrete reality coming through with that Saturn influence. Now, this transit is also going to hit the natal chart of DK and his Saturn. But his Saturn was in retrograde at the time of his birth. So this is going to be more about him rethinking how he uses his power and his strength. This energy is going to be more of a sobering event for him. This is more about inner work than how he's perceived on the outside. Now, all of this energy will force him to focus more on his legacy, because y'all already know Pop Saturn did not come to play. With that being said, the favorite planetary parent, Jupiter, is making some big moves in 2026. And this is actually going to be a big highlight for all of us. But Jupiter moving into Leo, specifically for our girl Normani, means that it is moving in her second house of finances, okay? This means that the money is going to be flowing for my girl, and this is definitely a glow up for her net worth. Now, one of the biggest transits that I'm looking at is that Uranus and Gemini that will be going down on April 25th of 2026. Now, this is going to be some major energy for them, which they've already experienced a lot of intensity and a lot of pressure within their relationship with Pluto being in DK's Venus. As we all know that Pluto is in Aquarius currently. And that bitch Pluto come in to tear some shit down and build some shit up, especially if it's not a good sounding foundation. Y'all know Aquarius, as well as Uranus, is that energy of shock all. It literally rules electricity. That just lets you know how shocking it can be. It moves quickly and it moves suddenly. And we have a whole solar eclipse that is literally in Aquarius. Now, eclipse energy is faded energy, okay? Ain't no getting around it. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. This is when the universe has officially had enough, okay? This is going to be a big make or break time within their relationship dynamic, okay? If their relationship can survive that transit, they actually should be good to go. Now, DK is still going to have some pretty heavy transits coming up. That's going to be a little bit more chaotic for him, especially when we're talking about Uranus and Gemini coming around on April 25th. Now, that's going to be a little bit more complimentary for Normani and a hell of a lot of more chaotic for DK. Now, that energy being in Normani's sun sign and her Venus sign, we're talking about a major shift. I wouldn't be surprised if our girl pops out with a new look. Hell, our girl might even drop a new album around that time. This is going to be a highly attractive time for her, where the spotlight is really going to be shining on her in a positive way. Now, when it comes to DK, not so much. It's Sagittarius energy, because it's the sister sign of Gemini. It is opposing that energy. So with that being said, there might be some news that come out that maybe would feel like an uphill battle for him. Like, I don't know what's going on with, the thing with the Steelers and everything like that, but there might be some news regarding that. And there's also an energy around radical freedom. So we're just going to have to see how that rolls out. Uranus is all about those surprises. We just got to hope that the surprise is nothing crazy when it comes to their relationship. Another date that I'm going to be looking around is March 3rd with that total lunar eclipse in Virgo. With that energy being in his north node, that lets me know that there is a karmic ending to a cycle. And this is almost like a karmic reset for him. Either way, it does look like it's going to be an emotional ending, and it will clear the way for something new. Now, we also have that energy as far as that solar eclipse in Leo. Now, that's around August 12th. This energy is highly creative. I would not be surprised if there was a royal wedding around this time, or even a baby. Bottom line, if they are at a point of expansion within their relationship, this is definitely the perfect time to do so. Now, a lot later on in 2026, we do have a Venus retrograde. Now, this is going to be a time, and this is around October. This is going to be a time for Normani when she really starts to renegotiate what love really means to her, what being a wife really means to her, and what being a partner really means to her. And she's also going to be checking the power dynamics within the relationship. This is going to be an incredible deep dive because this is directly affecting her Scorpio moon, and it also will have an effect on her Libra north node. Now, for them as a couple, it doesn't really give me a breakup transit. It more gives me a level up transit. This, for me, feels like a time for stability, a time for forgiveness. They might have to revisit some old emotional wounds, but this is given a time of healing. All in all, Normani and DK have potential to be a generational power couple. They have that excitement in their sun sign with that sister sign push-pull energy. They have that deep emotional connection within their moon. She gives him the home vibes, and he gives her the vibes of adventure. Now, of course, there's some challenges they got to overcome, like, the bluntness versus the stubbornness when it comes to their communication styles. But they do have enough shared trines when it comes to Earth. When it comes to that building factor and wanting to build an empire together side by side, the intellectual trines when it comes to that, they keep each other emotionally stimulated. We are definitely going to have to keep our eyes out for anything that's going on in February and August when it comes to the Metcalfs and their legacy. And bottom line, these two are the real deal. Now, of course, we got to stay tuned to see how these transits play out. However, I really feel like these two were obviously made for each other. And I feel like they have a connection that is built to last. Now, with that being said, Cosmic Cousins, y'all know I'm about to get on up out of here. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe to your girl if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of this cosmic tea. And I'm out of here, Cosmic Cousins.